Okay, let me know when you're ready.
It seems like there was one other thing that you asked. I don't remember.
No, that's got it covered. Thanks.
All right. All right.
All right. We don't have any other questions in the chat or in the Q&A right now. But if anybody's got any, probably have time for one more, I guess.
This is something I'll add. Something I'll add to Chuck's question he just asked is that the IEEE has put together a consultant's fee survey that they put out every year, and it's publicly available. You have to pay if you are a Consultant Network member and you pay for the premium membership through the IEEE, you get that copy for free. But you can also download it and buy it from IEEE.org. And I forget how much they charge for it. It's pretty reasonable, but it basically breaks down the hourly rates for consultants based on geography, years of experience, what your education background is, how many years you've been consulting versus how many years of experience in general. And it gives you a couple different metrics you can use to help figure out where you might want to try and put your pricing.
Yeah, and it's good collateral also. I mean, you can share this as evidence of what your profession is charging. But we all know this is a game. If you're working for a smaller employer, the rates are going to be a lot tighter and be a lot harder. You're working for a big employer, they're a lot less price sensitive. And again, once you've established a long-term relationship with someone, it's a little bit easier to, they know what they're going to get for that money, a little less nervous. Yeah, I've got that survey. It's very helpful.
I guess I have one question, Will. So I know what you mean when you talk about like you get busy working doing the work that the business is doing instead of working on the business, and you get focused on a couple different projects. Next thing you know, 8 months have gone by, and you don't know what the next project's going to be, and you're running out of time on the one project, and that something next is coming. You just don't know what it is yet. Mm-hmm. But then in the background, you have like this marketing and creating content through either some sort of blogs or YouTube videos, or how do you balance? Like if you're going to take a percentage of time, if you're going to just roughly take a percentage of time, like what would you allocate to those marketing activities, for an organization? Do you have a feel for like?
Yeah, it's challenging, and all of us are a little bit different. I'm a list maker, and so that's how I handle it. But my colleague Jacob Beningo does a nice thing where he actually splits up his week. And he's got a set of goals that he wants to accomplish each week, and he blocks out some time. And so he focuses, well, let's see, at 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I'm going to get my newsletter out. And, on Tuesday. And on Thursday from 10 to 11, I'm going to write a blog article for to go out, put on my website. So you can sort of time box certain times that you put the other things away and you focus on that particular activity. Just like you might want to reserve a certain amount of time during your week for Calendly calls or something like that. You say, okay, I'm going to reserve 1 to 2 o'clock or on Tuesdays and Thursdays or something for those. And so you don't schedule anything on top of them. So maybe you can get to do something else if nothing comes in, but that time is available for that particular aspect. And so you would, I would suggest that you try to time box those things. And then for the other activities that you're doing on your own times, marketing efforts, putting out your ads or putting on blogs or putting on building content or other things like that, you need to set aside a little bit of time and make sure they get checked off.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a feel for. Would you say that that's like a half a day a week, or like I'm just trying to figure out like what would be a rough?
Yeah, I think while you're busy working, it's going to be hard to make it say more than 20% of your time.
Yep.
So, I'd say 10 to 20% of your time. And of course, what happens is when you aren't busy anymore, it's like all of your time. But that can be very nerve-wracking, of course. So it's a challenge to, do it consistently. It's sort of like where they say it takes 10,000 hours to get to Carnegie Hall. If you practice the piano,
right.
Once you get to 10,000 hours, you got it, right? So, but you can't do that all at once. But if you did 2 hours of piano every day somewhere, or an hour of piano every day, you get there.
Yep.
And so that's part of this goal, is just to
consistency.
Be consistent about it, and set some time aside that you can dedicate to it. Some time will be more productive than other time. It is what it is. In fact, I'll tell you another little story which might be interesting to this whole group. A little mathematical thing that called the drunken sailor problem. Have you guys heard me talk about that before? Basically, the concept is that you have a drunken sailor. He's going to take n steps before he passes out, right? If you put him in the middle of an empty room, some steps will be forward, some steps will be back, some steps to the right and left, and he will end up statistically at a distance proportional to the square root of n from where he began in a random direction, right? On the other hand, if you put a pretty girl in the corner of the room, right? He's still stumbling around, he's still drunk, but he's got a goal in mind. And so now the result is he ends up a distance proportional to n number of steps in the direction of the pretty girl. Okay? So the notion I have here is that we're all a little bit like the drunken soldier. We're not really quite sure what we should be doing at every moment. And it's a little bit, our motivation changes and our distractions changes. But we're all stumbling around. But as long as you've created a few goals for yourself, and you kind of keep putting those in front of your face, and you keep trying to allocate some time to accomplish them and all that stuff, it's amazing how you get a lot closer to those goals over time than the guy who sort of has no particular goal and is sort of blown about by the wind.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to take one more question, LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, there's the free version and there's some paid premium features. Do you see any value in using the LinkedIn paid version? I know they have a thing they used to call anyway, Sales Navigator, and I never purchased those, but I was always wondering if there was ever any real value, or if it was really you're paying more than what it's worth.
Right. I mean, so I've come to believe that it is worth spending some money on your sales and marketing. However, I did have Sales Navigator for a while, and I wasn't able to do much with it, but maybe I was impatient. It takes some effort to figure out how to mine that, right? And some of us are more willing to dig through that than others, right? So you do need to dedicate some time to, I think some tools like, if you could make use of like Connected or some of those things might get you a lot of the advantages you were looking for without not needing to pay for the higher level of service. Or it may be that Connected could do a little more for you if you paid for the service. So you might look at it from that perspective, is what does it enable?
Yep.
And if you're going to, one of the more expensive ways to do it, if you're going to Google and you're paying for Google ads and pay per click and all that, I mean, you better be pretty well focused. I mean, that can get expensive pretty quickly, and it may or not generate a lot of return. So you do need to be, whatever you try, you got to try stuff. You got to get up to bat and swing the bat, right? And see what it brings in. And if there are no fish at the end of that line, then you need to try something else or improve your targeting.
Yep. Thank you. Well, I think that's probably everything. No other questions, and we're coming up on 9 o'clock. So thank you, William. Thank you. It was a really great presentation. I know I got a lot out of it. It sounded like from the questions, a lot of people as well did. And I would like to thank Gary Blank as well for lining up tonight's speaker. It was a great a great find, and we appreciate him bringing William to us tonight.
Oh, you're
Thanks
welcome.
for having me. Yeah. And thanks, Gary.
So with that, I guess we'll close the meeting. Will, it's okay for us to send the PowerPoint out to the attendee list? Is that
Absolutely, sure.
okay? We will do that. We'll try and get that out in the next week. In the meantime, we hope to see you guys in November for our next event. Be watching for that announcement. And oh, one last thing, if you remember and you didn't see an email for a ballot, please do shoot us an email to make sure that you get it. You should have seen it. I'd be surprised if you didn't. Check your inbox, but if you don't see it, please contact us. So, all right. Well, I think we'll close it out there. Anything else, Robert? Can you think of anything I'm forgetting?
No. We will, when we send out the slides, we'll also send out a link to the recording of this webinar.
Oh, I forgot to hit the record button. So that,
I got it for you.
Oh, thank you, Robert.
Very good.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, guys. And good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Will.